Welcome back to the course. In this video, we're going to be talking about the sales team pillar. So in the previous video, we talked about lead generation and marketing. And so as you start having success generating a lot of leads, you're going to have to hire salespeople to help you work those leads, convert those leads to generate revenue. And there are some key little nuggets I want to share with you. 4 things specifically that you have to be aware of in the early climb. Number 1, we're going to talk about targets. 2, we're going to talk about the timeline of how much time you spend with agents, especially when they first start. We're going to talk about the experience level of the agents you hire. So the difference between brand new agents versus ones that have been in like the business for 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 12 months, or people that have been in business 20 years. We're going to talk about which ones are the best to hire. And then I'm going to share with you probably one of my biggest ahas when it comes to the selection process. And most importantly, like when to know you should probably let somebody go. First off, let's talk about targets. So again, these last couple of videos are all about the early climb. And one of the key targets you've got to be paying attention to through the early climb to get out of the early climb is finding somebody to help you at a certain point run the buyer agent team. And so one of your key targets when you're in the early climb is finding a buyer agent team leader. This is going to be pivotal to your success. You're going to get stuck probably at somewhere between 130 and 160, maybe 170 deals without a buyer agent team leader. You're going to get stuck there. So if you want to get past that and get out of the early climb, you've got to find a buyer agent team leader that's going to help you run the buyer agent team. Now, I mentioned this in a previous video in the course, but your buyer agent team leader is somebody that's going to present themselves very organically. So you're going to notice a lot of salespeople just naturally are attracted to that person. They go to that person to get help with, maybe it's something totally unrelated to real estate. Maybe it's like the computer or the printer. But this person, just people gravitate towards them, and they have a servant's heart. So, something I said in the previous video is sometimes the best salespeople are the worst sales managers. You've got to be very nurturing and patient to foster the success of an agent. So that's going to be one of your key targets from a leadership perspective. And then the other second key target, obviously in the early climb, is getting buyer agents. So we actually recommend you use your buyer agent team to start developing kind of a pool of talent so that at a certain point, once you actually replace yourself on the listing side, you'll be able to draw from somebody on the buy side that is proven as a salesperson that you know is going to do a great job with your listing side leads. So you definitely want to start really focusing your time on building up your buyer agent team. And you may be asking yourself, how much time do I need to spend with buyer's agents? So we split tested this. We tried having this very structured, regimented program where it was kind of like classroom style from 8 to 5 for 30 days and then scaled it back from there. And then we also tried just letting people run and just see what they can come up with, see how resourceful they are. And we found kind of a happy medium, and this is what has helped our agents get to getting a deal under contract and getting to closing the fastest. So obviously with agents, right, like if they're going to be successful on your team, you need to help them get deals executed as quickly as possible. So teaching all day long, like classroom style for 8 hours, hinders their ability to actually take action. So the amount of time I actually recommend with agents in the first 30 days is that you time block roughly 3 to 4 hours. And in those 3 to 4 hours, that's Monday through Friday, and think about an entire month, 20 working days. You're going to have it set up to where 50% of the time you're helping them with contracts. Maybe it's using various technology programs you use, perhaps like your CRM system. You're teaching them best practices for lead follow-up. There's three key dominoes that a real estate agent needs to master. Domino 1 is inside sales. So they need to know how to make phone calls, take inbound calls, best practices for follow-up, and set appointments. That's domino 1. If they can't set appointments to meet people face to face, you're not going to get to domino 2. Domino 2 is the outside sales aspect. So, for example, getting face to face with someone and going through the process of building rapport, educating the consumer, and then differentiation. Ultimately telling the consumer, what are you going to do differently for the consumer that all these other agents in the marketplace can't deliver on, and then finally asking for the business. So that's step 2, mastering the outside sales component. And then the third step is actually being a market expert. So knowing real estate contracts, how to negotiate repair amendments, dealing with the title company, the mortgage company, various vendors to deal with repair requests. That's what it means to be a market expert, is to be able to handle all those things. Running comps, knowing what's available in the inventory, in the MLS system, all of these things you have to know, and that's all specific to being a market expert. So these are the 3 dominoes to success. So when you think about your training program, which we're actually going to dive into in the next video, think about those 3 key things and spend 50% of your time kind of like classroom style where you're actually teaching, and then the other 50% of your time, get people actually taking action. So for example, get them to call through all of your trash leads, do role playing, actually do some mock buyer presentations, and then actually go out and host open houses with them and have them shadow you when you go and show clients around, showing them homes for sale, or when you present offers or deal with inspections. Have them go to an inspection with you, have them go to the closing table with you. So these are the things you need to be thinking about in order to get the agents to actually see what it's like in real life, not just theory, in a classroom type style environment. So again, 50% classroom, 50% of them taking action. And so, what's great is if you do this strategy, if you're watching this video, you're probably pretty active as an agent. And so it wouldn't actually slow you down too much if you had people shadowing you, doing all these various activities. And then obviously the morning time is going to be very laser focused with you helping people with very specific things, like showing them how to use various technology programs. And I'm going to share a couple secrets with you guys in the next video. Next, we're going to talk about the experience level of the agents you hire for your sales team. So we've tried hiring brand new agents. We've tried hiring agents that had 20, 30 years of experience. We've hired people that have had 6 months to 2 years of experience. And the sweet spot for somebody in the early climb is hiring an agent that's been in the business for 6 months to 2 years. One challenge with people that have been in the business 20 plus years is they have a lot of bad habits, and they might have a lot of preconceived notions, and you might find a lot of conflict there. And so if they haven't found success in their real estate career and they've been in it 20 to 30 years, you have to ask yourself, what's going to change if they join your team? So I made this mistake. We hired tons of people with tons of experience, and getting them to adopt a lot of changes around technology and just best practices for lead follow-up, etc., was very, very difficult. So the next thing I want to share with you is about brand new agents. So I love hiring brand new agents, but the challenge in the early climb is that you don't have a lot of time. So brand new agents, they don't even have the key to open up a lockbox. They don't even know how to log into the MLS system. So brand new agents take an exorbitant amount of time, and when you're in the early climb, you as a team leader, you're still wearing a lot of different hats. So the sweet spot is really to hire someone 6 to 12 months, maybe up to 24 months in the business. So finding someone that's young, hungry, ambitious, they've got tons of energy, and really the thing that's slowing them down is they can't, they haven't had enough time to be able to connect all the dots. Like, they don't know what's the best tech to go and get. They don't know, the best place to get leads. They don't have the money to go and invest in lead generation or technology. So that's a big value proposition that you offer as a team leader, is all of these things like leads and technology and the coaching and mentorship. If you're watching this video, you guys have probably done lots of courses, and you probably have so much knowledge up here in your head, and I'd be willing to bet that you probably diminished how much you've got going on up here. And if you kind of go back in time and you think about all the trivial stuff you went through in the first 6 to 12 months, I mean, if you could take everything you knew now and transplant that back in your brain on day one, how much faster would you grow? So you have just this ability to help agents grow so much faster because you can help them learn not to make the same mistakes you did. So again, experience level 6 to 24 months is a sweet spot. The other reason I like that is because they've been in the business for a little bit of time, and they're going to have this amazing appreciation for everything you offer. Most companies, they upsell you coaching, or they have these a la carte classes you have to pay for, or there's desk fees, or E&O, or you got to go out and get your own technology, or there's some line item expense for it. So you're offering all this on a silver platter, and they don't have to pay for it. And so someone 6 months to 2 years in the business, they have an appreciation for what all you're offering. Now, the one asterisk I would make about this statement about experience and hiring people 6 to 24 months in is you could meet somebody that, for example, relocated to your marketplace, and they've been an agent for 5, 6, 7 years, and they come in to meet with you, and they have just such an appreciation for how hard it is to build a database, and they know going into a brand new market, they're way behind the 8 ball. And so they have a true appreciation for what all you have to offer. So I think if you do hire somebody experienced, one specific case would be as if they are relocating from another market, and they truly have an appreciation for everything you're offering. That's also one of the biggest challenges with new agents, by the way, is new agents think that every brokerage out there is like this, where they get leads and technology, and they've got a mentor holding their hand along every step in the process. And as you guys know, if you're watching this video, that's definitely not the case. Last, I want to share with you my biggest aha in building the sales team. So I felt like in the early years that it felt like pushing a boulder up Mount Everest when I was trying to train new agents, and it's like I wanted success for them more than they wanted it for themselves. So if you ever catch yourself in a position where you want them to be more successful than they do, it might be time for you guys to part ways. And I share this story with a lot of people. I started researching all this psychology stuff to try to figure out how to help people get past their self-imposed limitations. And I stumbled across something called cognitive behavioral therapy. And I remember reading a line item in this scientific journal that said, a licensed professional can take somebody through cognitive behavioral therapy, and over the course of 2 to 5 years, they could help somebody potentially overcome a limiting belief. And that sounds great and all, but when you're giving somebody leads and you're investing time, you need them to start producing. You don't have 2 years to wait for somebody to deal with whatever's going on in the back of their mind from some previous experience or life event or whatever. You need people to start taking action and getting after it. And so if you ever find yourself in a position where it feels like pushing a boulder up Mount Everest and they just don't have that internal desire. The thing is that, unless you're watching this and you are a psychologist or a shrink or whatever, I would not encourage you to continue pushing forward. You can't change someone's behaviors unless they genuinely want it inside. So internal desire is always the X factor. So there's a lot of talk about disc profiles and value assessments and stuff. And at the end of the day, we've brought on tons of salespeople, and their disc profile was not advantageous to having success in real estate. Just as an example, someone with a high SC personality statistically doesn't do that well in sales. Well, we've taken people that are SC personalities, and they've had a lot of success because inside they really, really want it. So human desire is one of these, X factors when it comes to getting things done. So pay really close attention to that. That was a huge aha for me, because for years and years, I literally felt like I was hitting my head against the wall trying to make agents be successful. And then when I finally figured out from reading some of those scientific journals that I was wasting my time, and I just need to be spending my time working with people that have that internal desire, that's when things really started to change for the business, and we started growing, exponentially, from 150 transactions to 300 to 400 to 500 and so forth. And I've quietly been sharing these things with people all across the country. So I know this is a very a point of frustration for a lot of team builders out there across the United States. So anyway, just to summarize, again, your targets: buyer agent team leaders. A buyer agent team leader, that is, you only need one in the yearly climb. And then we talked about in terms of how much time to spend with agents. So split your time up. A couple hours Monday through Friday dedicated to more theory, just again, like showing them how to use technology applications, best practices for follow-up, and then the other half the time, spend it on actually getting them to take action. Maybe it's shadowing you, maybe it's them actually doing, like leading a mock buyer presentation. So that's how you should split up your time, and that's going to help the agents get a deal under contract the fastest. And then an experience level, the sweet spot is hiring somebody that's like 6 months to about 2 years in the business. And the one exception is if someone relocates and they had success in the market they were in, and they come to you with a great appreciation for everything you offer. And then finally, the big aha is you're never going to be able to give somebody the element of human desire. You just can't give someone that. Like, they have to want it inside. And so again, if you ever feel like you're pushing someone up, Mount Everest, like they're a boulder, stop yourself and think about, if you could do it all over again, would you rehire this person? And a lot of people, when I ask them that question, they typically say, no, I would not rehire this person because this is taking way too much time to help them get a deal under contract. So anyways, hopefully these little nuggets helped you guys. In the next video, we're going to be talking about coaching and training and how to systematize your training, and a key hinge in terms of the recruiting and selection process to help increase your odds of finding salespeople that are going to be successful. And we're also going to be talking about your future buyer agent team leader. So stay tuned for the next video to come.